All right. In 3, 2, 1. It's Kris Kaylin, and I am back with my new podcast, which I'm really excited to be here. This is called Princess Diary. So I know some of you are just like, what happened to what was said? What was said is on a hiatus. But in that time, I wanted to be able to get on a platform and share my story. And I do want to say what was said, and I appreciate you so much, Clay. At that time, I needed someone to help me speak. I needed someone to take away all the nervousness and just all the other stuff that I had going on, and just to be able to laugh and to laugh wholeheartedly, because it took some steps to get here, which is why I'm super excited to introduce my guest. So a very special person, my therapist, yes. So Dr. Shanelle Fields from Taking the Next Steps. So how are you?
I am well, and yourself?
I'm better. Good. I am better.
Good.
And the reason why I wanted to have you as my first guest, so just taking it back, March 2021, 2022? I don't know, like 18 months ago, that time in March, I was physically assaulted by DJ Cass when I was attending an event. And when everything happened, I want to say I had to deal with the city of Charleston Victims Advocate. Would not recommend them to my dog. So everything that I had to do, I had to find on my own, including my therapist. And I ended up meeting you at an event, a real estate event,
yes,
if I'm not mistaken.
Right. And
like, I can't remember how I got your contact information, but at this time, I'm just like in panic mode. And I was asking for recommendations, and you were just like, well, I could do this too. So that's how I was able to cross paths and become a client. But I always tell people, and I don't know if I shared this with you, but I always tell people how much I appreciate you, because you were the first person to tell me I had a right to be angry.
Yes, it is an emotion that we like to forget about or not talk about, but anger is a big part of being human. Emotions are a big part of being human.
So I don't want to get emotional during this episode, but I wanted to make this episode one because like it's my journey. It's my transparency. I feel like I delayed, after the incident happened, I got off the mic for a long time. And at this time, and let me clear up something, I left that radio station in December. I was attacked in March. So, and I know when it hit Live 5 News, a lot of people are just like, and that was another thing. Reading comments. I will never do that ever again. But just all the comments and just the different stories that I heard that were all so false. And it only made me wonder how celebrities deal with that when you have people writing paragraphs and they don't know you or anything about the incident. So, so like just being able to talk to you and just like express how I feel, I appreciate that so much. And like, if you don't have therapy in your life, please get it. But can you tell my listeners and my viewers a little bit about yourself?
Absolutely. Well, as Kris said, we've actually crossed paths quite a few times now. And so it was my pleasure to work with her. The first thing I wanted to say is that I'm a lover of people. Just whatever space you're in, whatever way you're feeling, we can't move forward until we acknowledge that. And so I believe that you can live well, but we have to do the hard parts. We have to do the work. We have to take the time to acknowledge what's going on. It's not easy, and it's a process, but very necessary, because joy is possible.
Yes, it is. And I'll never forget the first thing when I sat down, you were just kind of like, now this is a life-changing experience. And when you first told me that, I'm like, girl, please. But like the more and more I just continue with my everyday life, and just even the way that I would react to people. And the moment when it first clicked, when you said it, I'll never forget. So like, this is maybe a month after the incident, and it's just kind of like, one, I didn't want people to look at, I look at the puppy dog eyes, like,
absolutely.
And so like, yeah, I felt away. But like, I was just kind of be like, okay, like, you ain't break my soul. Like, I'm saying this to myself, but deep down, like, soul is shattered.
Yes, absolutely.
Soul is shattered into 1,000 pieces, and I really knew that I was affected. I'll never forget. I went to a Woo Wednesday after the event happened, and like, people came up to me, but like, you know, when stuff like that happened, it's like, I don't know if you're coming up to me because you care. I don't know if you're like secretly laughing behind my back. Yes. Like, I don't know. And it was just so many thoughts. And I'll never forget, I went back to my car and I started bawling. I was so upset. And it wasn't at the people, but it was just the fact that my emotions were everywhere. And it finally hit me like, this thing has changed my life forever. And, you know, to be able to go through that. And like I said, this podcast took me a while to do because it's just kind of like, okay, people are saying, why are you talking about it? You shouldn't, I mean, if you're suing, you shouldn't talk about it. You shouldn't have anything to say. But it's like Live 5 they did a whole 5-minute segment on this. And like everyone was able to have an opinion. And I just felt like for so long, like even after being on the Breakfast Club, which was a beautiful experience. And I do want to touch on that because it did show me that all radio environments are not toxic. Correct. You are not walking on eggshells when you step into certain places. The floor is not lava at every radio station that you go to. There are actually kind people. I'm not going to say everybody kind, but there are actually kind people who just want to see you excel and be great. So, like, just in the midst of all of that, but it's just kind of like I had to get comfortable to say what happened. Like, you know, in behind my closed doors, whatever, have those conversations. But, like, it was just not wanting to be judged. Not wanting them to say, well, and I will say, I don't know if this, in my mind, being a black woman, but I strongly feel like if I was a white woman, blonde hair, blue eyes, one, he would have been arrested that night. It would have not taken 3 weeks for it to happen. Two, it wouldn't have been so combative. What did you do? If you know the amount of people, black men and black women, instead of treating me like a human, because at the end of the day, I'm a human, regardless of Kris Kaylin, the Princess of Charleston being on the radio, breakfast, none of that. I am a human first. I put my pants on the same way you put your pants on. So, like, I feel like I was so not looked at as a human. I was looked at as an entity, or like what you see on Instagram, or when she's in the club hosting. And I'll never forget that night that it happened. A woman, I'm not going to say who she is, but the same woman complimented me on my dress when my mom was standing in the room trying to figure out what happened, was the same woman who was going to say, why would you even wear that? And it's just like, so that justifies why I was attacked. Got it. So, and it's just like so many people, you know, who I just feel like, you know, in certain positions, they forgot the fact that I was human. Absolutely. And I was a person with feelings. Absolutely. And I had to remind someone of that. I was like, if this was your daughter, your niece, your cousin, any woman that you hold close to your heart, would you have want them to got those same line of questions? And that's the thing. Like, I don't care what you believe, but my whole thing is, first and foremost, I'm a human being. And, like, you made me feel human. You listened to what I had to say. You asked questions. So, like, that is why, like I said, I wanted to have you up here and just the whole process. Now, I will say something that I'm working on. It's forgiveness. Absolutely. Now, there are some people in my life, personally, that, you know, I've forgiven and I'm super proud of. Good. But, like, when it comes down to damn people...
It's okay. You got time. You got time.
I'm working on it. Mm-hmm. So, like, what tips would you give for forgiveness?
Well, number one, forgiveness really is about you.
Yes, and when I forgive someone, I was like, wow, I feel lighter. I
feel
better.
If you think about it in these terms, if someone says something to you or does something to you that hurts your feelings, they have gone on about their business. And you're still crying or upset about it 2 weeks later, mm-hmm. You're the person still holding on to what was said.
Yes.
So until you release it, it is going to burden you because, as you can see, the person has gone on about their business.
Right.
So it is important that you stop and think. Number one, we have to acknowledge that it affected you.
Yes.
That's really important. Number two, how long am I going to let this hold me hostage?
Right.
Is it affecting how I think about things? Is it affecting how I feel about myself?
Right.
That's one of the most important things. So with forgiveness, number one, it really has to be about you moving forward, the person itself. Number two, you have to decide that I'm worth more than that. Whatever they said, whatever they did, it does not define who I am.
Right.
And so anytime you go through any kind of trauma or just difficult situations, you have to remember that it may or may not be personal, but what you can say is, hey, I learned something from it. But you have to be in the place to be able to say that I've learned something from it.
That is true. So my next question, do you feel like it's a difference like when you're dealing with like coworkers versus family?
Oh, definitely. Coworkers, there is that, it is a very fine line. Co-workers are someone that you have camaraderie with, that you spend time around, because let's face it, you're at work 90% of the time. So they do become like family. But it is a difference. Your family, absolutely no, because there's a bias there.
Right.
They may have known you since you were knee-high to a grasshopper and now you're grown. I remember when you did this. And so it's almost like your slate is not clean.
Right.
And in the other hand, you may know what they've done in their past. And so as much as we like to say we're not biased, we're human. Mm-hmm. We hold things, we think about things. And so it's important that they tell us in our ethics not to counsel our families. Yes, absolutely.
That makes sense, though.
Yes.
That makes sense. Like, you talking about me?
Absolutely, yes. And it is hard to take it from somebody that you love.
Yeah.
That's because you're supposed to love me more than that. It shouldn't matter because we're family.
Right.
Well, family still hurts. Family can still say things that, make you feel differently. Family can also cause you difficulty. And I feel like some of the problems sometimes we don't have strong boundaries because they are family.
Exactly. And it gets very, very, very blurred. And you just like, how did I get here? Like, I should have stopped this a long time ago. Absolutely. Now if you try to stop it, everyone's so offended. Like, what do you mean? Like, why would you do that? And it's like, I wanted to do this 5 years ago. Yes. But I just did not have the guts to do so. So I feel like that's always a blur with like family. And like, I think in this phase I'm at is either like, I couldn't blur the lines anymore. So it was like a hard cutoff. Because for me, and like I said, going back to my situation, like I have family members till this day who never reached out to me to see if I was okay. And that cut me so deep. When I think about like how much my mom was there for them and like just, and not only did it hurt me, it hurt her. Absolutely. Like you didn't even check to see if she was, so like with that, like I'm working on forgiveness in that aspect. But for my mental health and just to move on, I had to do
forgiveness looks different for different people.
Yeah.
Forgiveness may mean for someone, hey, it's going to take some time. I can be cordial, to him or her, but we'll never be in the space we were again.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
Yes.
And that's the thing what I'm also realizing. Like, you can forgive someone. Like, it does not have to go back to, like, what it was. But, like, that whole forgiveness is for you. It is such a gem. And, like, I promise you, I was walking my dog one day. And I was just like, you know what? I'm over it. Like, I'm over it. And I don't know what it was. Like, I saw, like, a red robin fly past me, then a butterfly. I'm like, okay, that's you, Granny. You letting me know. Thank God. But, so it just, so eventually, I'm going to get there with them people. I'm working on it. I'm a work in progress.
Absolutely.
But, so, like, when we met, it was because of a traumatic experience. So, like, what are some steps of coping through trauma?
Ooh.
Right.
Trauma, just the word. It's
very
a lot.
Ugly word.
Yeah, it is.
Such an ugly word.
It is. Number one, these are two words that I say a lot: to just be. And what that means is I'm not trying to be super. I am not in the mood to help. I can't give you what I don't have.
Can I pour from an empty cup?
Correct. So number one, it means although I might have been super before, in this moment, I am not super. I am human. I am vulnerable. So I can't give you anything. And I think that's important to note because so many of our relationships, we empty ourselves for other people.
Yep.
And then wonder why I'm overwhelmed and I'm tired and I'm bitter and I'm frustrated because I've left nothing for me.
Right.
So number one is the fact that I just need to be. That's a matter of coping. That means I'm just going to be in my house and I don't feel like dealing with people, it's okay to take time to reset. Number two, you have to own your truth. And whether someone did something to you or whether they have a different perspective of what actually happened, that is your truth. And you have to be okay with what really happened because it's your narrative.
Right.
You're telling the story of your life or you're creating these moments and you have to be okay with what is going on in your life. So as much as I hate to say it, they don't really matter.
Right.
You know. So,
but no, they don't. They don't.
Really
Easier said than done, but.
Yes. And that's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard. We call it being selfish or we call it where you don't care about everybody else. And that's a generational trauma that we have passed on, especially in the African American community. We pick up and carry everybody else's bags and wondering why we can't move. Why we're held hostage. Why when people greet us in the morning, we angry already.
Face ball up.
Yes, because we have not released anything. It is a blessing and a curse to be a helper, but there is a strong line. Number 3, I say this all the time, boundaries are so important. You have to create space for yourself to heal.
Yes.
Nobody is living the life that you are living. Nobody understands your pain and feels it the exact same way that you do. So for you, even with you, Kris, in this situation, you had to grieve the life that you had before this. And that in itself, people don't think that losing something is a trauma, but it is.
Oh
it is a trauma.
You said that so beautifully.
It is a trauma. And I'm not just talking about losing people. Losing jobs and or friendships, relationships.
Opportunities.
Yes. All of that are things that contribute to trauma because we are creatures of habit.
Yeah.
So we get used to the routine. It's the same reason why we stay in toxic situationships, relationships, circumstances, marriages. I digress.
Drag them.
Right.
Drag them.
So we stay in that space because it's familiar to us. I call it the battered women's syndrome. I can handle what I know.
Right.
I can defend myself. I know how to cover black eyes. I know how to boost myself up. I can get it together for the kids. But when you take me out of the environment that I know, I'm a fish out of water because I don't know what to do. Right. So the other thing is you have to be okay with change, whether that is baby steps or a great big, like you said, I just cut it off. Right. And most importantly, I would say with coping is don't be afraid to stand alone. It is often in those lonely moments that you elevate. Yes. So I always say this, your vision and your journey is just for you. No one else is supposed to understand it or get it because it's not theirs.
Right.
It is yours specifically, individually. So it means that I'm okay being in this space right now by myself. Right. Kris, nobody could experience what you actually experienced. Even if you told them, they would not be able to understand it in depthly like you do because that was your trauma. Right. So in the moment you needed to retreat, that was your time to come back and emerge stronger. And it feels lonely, yes, and isolating because nobody really understands what I'm going through as much as they thought they knew what happened. Right. They really didn't. So for you, it was, unfortunately, I have to sit still in this moment where I feel like I'm by myself. Right. But through that, you were able to come back and rebuild yourself little bit by little bit.
Literally. And like everything that like when you're the grieving, like, and when I was attacked, it's just like lost opportunities, lost being on TV. People didn't want to work with me, concert opportunities, things to host. Like they were saying, oh, don't work with Kris Kaylin because of this situation. I'm like, I didn't do anything. So like I had to get over the fact that like it's being made like I'm 5'1". This man is 6'2", 200-something pounds. I am 5'1", 130 in a soaking wet t-shirt. So like for the narrative to have been, oh, you attacked, like, if we're gonna be anything, be for real. So, and I think that was the thing. So, like, when everything, just started going, and like I said, because I left the station in December, and I had opportunities just coming in for me, and some people don't like that when they see that you can be well without them, and you can do your own thing without them, and you can stand on your own. Because keep in mind, I got there from what I was doing on social media, because of my interviews, because of who I was, and sometimes people just don't like who you are.
Absolutely.
Just the aura of you, or the intelligence that I have about, what I'm doing. Because if anything, I'm going to be knowledgeable about what I'm doing. Is not to come off as arrogant, but like, I went to school for this. Like, I graduated cum laude for this. Like, this is what I want to do. But like, to experience those things and like say, learn a lot about people. But like, in the midst of that, like, when I tell you, like, my friends, like, from my mom to everything, because at one point it got really, really, really dark for me. Like, really dark. Like, I did not want to be here at a certain point, because it was just kind of like, my life is ruined. At that time, that's how I felt. But it's just kind of like, I knew deep down, I was like, I can't do that to my mom. I can't do it to my dad. And I can't do it to Rocket. Because who was going to walk my Rocket son? Because they're not going to love Rocket the way I love Rocket. And that was a huge concern of mine. But like, and my friends who came to my 30th birthday, because you were there, I cried so much. But like, I wasn't sad. It's the fact that I fought through. And I chose to stick around for another year. So like, that was a lot.
This is your truth, and it's okay to own that. It's really important. This is a part of the healing process, that you're able to open up and talk about it and discuss it. I guarantee you somebody else is experiencing something right now, and this is liberating them. This is letting them know that you are not by yourself. Keep holding on, getting through the really bad days. It will get better. But I love the fact that you said that you did the work. That's the hard part.
Yes.
We like to skip over the work part. We like to skip over the fact that our stomach hurts and we feel less than, or we may not be in the best of moods, or walking around and other people thinking things that are not true. That's the hard part.
Yes.
And saying, hey, I lost jobs and opportunity. This is my livelihood.
Yes.
And so through all of that, you still have to stand. But understand that it was not a race.
Right.
Healing is not a race.
And I had to realize that.
It's not a race.
Like, can this be up in about 3 months?
Right.
Life was like, yeah, hell no.
Yes.
We're on month 20 now of healing.
Yes, absolutely. Yes. It is a process.
It is. It's a long process, but like, to get to where I'm at now, like I said earlier, I don't know if I mentioned it earlier, but like, I'm going to take it from Sha'Carri Richardson. I'm not back. I'm better. But I had to get there. Like, I feel like, and I'm not going to say pandering, because at the time when I was doing it, I wanted to do it. But like, I had to get to a point where I felt comfortable being in front of the mic. And people like, oh, you stopped doing interviews. Like, I had to get to a point where mentally, my mental had to match up. So you can look good all day. But if your insides are tore up and messed up, like, it wouldn't have made sense for me. So like, I'm glad I did In the Loop. And the thing about In the Loop, not saying it was a cover, but it allowed me to still be active and, still do what I want to do. And I ended up doing In the Loop because I got kicked off the news. But like, and I will say, even from college, like, when I had a series called Bulldog Bite. Bulldog Bite came about when I didn't make the AKA line for the first time.
Oh my.
And all of my friends made it. And like, so of course when they had parties, I got to hold all the bags while they stroll. And it was the worst. Like, I can say it now because I'm grown and I'm like 10 years removed from college. But it was the absolute worst. And from there, like, they're at sorority meetings and they party hopping and they got step practice. So that's where Bulldog Bite came about. So I always tell people, like, when I'm in my deepest, darkest places, that's somehow, some way I produce great things, which I don't want that to be my thing anymore. But and so In the Loop, after that happened, I was like, they're trying to take me. So like, this is like my left brain fight my right brain. They're trying to take me off. I got to let them know I'm still popping. I'm still out here. And then my body is like, stop. rest. You need to get your mental together. So it's just kind of like, it was like a battle, a push and pull with the in the loop. And then it got to a point where I did enjoy doing it. When I, putting on the clothes or whatever. But, like, I will say it pushed me to be comfortable with being in front of the camera. Like, I didn't have to talk. I can just look real cute and give y'all events, but I don't have to say anything personally about how I personally feel. Even with the What Was Said podcast, we can come in here and cackle all day, talk about sex, talk about relationships, but I didn't have to go into my personal. So, like, now that and I feel like those were all building blocks. Absolutely. To get me to this point. So it's just kind of like, when that happened, it's like, all right, did a couple of other things. And, like, I don't know. And I think I was talking to Natasha Toddy. She has a podcast, Clothes for Maintenance podcast. And I was talking to her, and she was just like, just do it. And I was just, in my mind, like, I didn't tell her. I'm like, I'm scared as hell. Like, what am I supposed to say? So, like, that's, like, when I thought about it, and I was just like, it would only make sense. Like, sometimes you can't avoid the pink elephant in the room. And it was just like, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it the way that I would want someone to be transparent with me. Granted, like, not going into details about everything. But just to say, this happened. I'm not going to wear a badge of a victim. Right. I did experience a traumatic experience. I was blackballed because of it, because of my experience, while my attacker was rewarded with other radio stations and remotes and all of that. But I do know I just don't prosper. And I know what God has for me is for me at the end of the day. So, like, looking back, when I write my book, everything's going to make sense. And this journey is going to make sense. But, like, I just appreciate you for standing and just being someone. If I felt like nobody else understood what was going on, you were there. And you just made me feel like, Kris, all these emotions are okay. Yes. Instead of being like, you shouldn't feel that way. Oh, no. So, like, I just appreciate you so much. And when I tell you, like, this just made me feel so good.
I appreciate that.
Thank you so much. So, no, we do have to talk about. So, yes. We are, well, she's hosting, I'm just on a panel, but it's an event happening, so this episode will be out, so y'all, I know we got 3 tickets left, but if you lucky number, 2, because my mama getting one of those, but if you lucky number 2, and to everyone who purchased their ticket, like, when I saw all the panelists, I'm like, I am honored to be sitting with these women, so can you talk about the panel just a little bit?
Absolutely. So, let me say, Kris, it was my pleasure. And for those of you who are listening, for my ethics mess up, Kris and I actually met before this. So we actually had a relationship before we started therapy. Yes. So I want that to be very clear.
Be very clear.
That nobody wants to take me to the board.
Yes, because we want to get very deep. No. We have a relationship outside of this. She was at my birthday party when I was crying last year too.
Yes, yes, we do. Definitely. So we are women and our lives are busy and we have things going on. Kris is hosting and she's also teaching and, I'm over here listening to people's stuff and, raising my 13-year-old man child. So we're balancing everything. We are balancing life and thoughts and emotions and girlfriends and boyfriends and whatever and marriages and things like that. And so I thought, what better than us spilling the tea with other ladies like ourselves. So I, in my practice, I often do a lot of mental health workshops and brunches and self-care activities. So I said, let's have a brunch and talk about mental health. And so I'm super excited. It's called What's the Tea? How to Manage Your Mental Health as a Successful Woman. Well, first of all, success is very different for everybody. So we are going to touch on that. But Kris is one of our amazing panelists who is going to be on and talking about her victories.
Yes.
But they're going to be very real. And I love that. Everybody on our panel has been through something, if not many things. And all of them are very authentic. And for those of you who do know me, I'm very direct and I get to the point. So I feel like it was important to get someone who's experienced some things. And so I'm going to be asking questions. We're going to be drinking our mimosas and we have a signature drink, the Purple Rain, because we are going to dress in shades of purple.
Yes.
So, yes, we are royalty. Yes, we are fabulous as well. We're going to have some sister circle time. And we're going to do some activities, and we are going to share. It is going to be a great time. I'm excited. Kris is going to bring her dynamic. I really at first wanted Kris to host, but I was like, no, I think I need to let her talk and let her share some things that she's experienced. And so it is important that we talk about our triumphs.
Yes.
You know, as well as the things that make us cry, because we've all been taught so much to be so
strong Black woman. You don't cry. You cry, you show weakness.
Yes, absolutely. Yep.
So I'm just so excited, and just thank you so much for taking the time. I know you're a very busy woman because you got to go to a football practice right now. We've got the English right now, but thank you for being a part of my page 1 of my diary. And so we got the hard part out the way, and it felt really good. And that's the last time y'all see me crying on this podcast. But so thank you again, Dr. Fields, for being a guest. And this was page 1 of the Princess Diaries. Thank you guys for tuning in.